Hi, Leo. Happy opposite birthday. Thank you for being here. Thank you so very much. I do love you, Leo. Okay, so, well, there's a few little things. What I want to mention first. This is still a time of having a good balance of having fun, right? That inner child that's happy and it's like, yeah. And then the adult self that is, or even like the grandparent self that is like, hey, let's be responsible here. I also feel like my uncle actually gave me this book for Christmas, which I love. It's called Grace for Today, and it's just like a little bit. There's one saying every day, and the one I opened to this morning, which I'm not like on the exact day because sometimes we, skip a day, but the one that I opened up for you is entitled "A Life of Happiness," and it says, "I know there is nothing better for men than to be happy and to do good while they live." Seems suiting for Leo. Right, it's important. But the thing is sometimes Leo has a bad day, right? Sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes, Leo, you represent the sun, which is so much positivity and growth and warmth and passion. But you have bad days too. You get stressed and sad and bummed out and discouraged and things like this. So I guess there's also some sort of thread here to just kind of reflect in those spaces when you're feeling that and don't feel like, because I think for most people, they may feel like it's a sin to be happy, but for you, it's almost like you may feel in your heart that it's a sin to be like not happy. And so be okay. Well, be happy when you are happy, right? And when you are not, know that it will go back to that space. But there is a reason for that feeling. And yeah, and just kind of process it a little bit. Let's actually read Burdock for you. I love this herbal deck. This is one of the first decks I ever received. Just a second. Your reading's a little different. Makes sense. You're always very inspiring. So Burdock, through this, they say, is the moon in Cancer, okay? It says, a woman watching the stream of life appears satiated and disinterested in the offering of the 4 cups before her. Sometimes it seems that despite achieving all the rewards of friendship, family, and children, something yet is missing. It may be difficult to feel connected with what is happening in the outer world when we feel disconnected somehow from the self within. It says perhaps it is time to contemplate those things which are of value to you. Or it might not be the time to remain. What's it say? Oh, I see. Don't overlook the gifts that are offered to you. But remember that, well, I guess if you've been doing something and it's not very satisfying, then I feel like trust yourself in that. Okay? Trust yourself in that knowing, Leo. Now, for Burdock, some of the medicinal properties. Let's learn about Burdock. I love Burdock root. We used to call it the did we call it the prick-a-bush when we were kids? I think so. Anyway, it says the Burdock root, also called Gobo, Gobo, has blood-strengthening properties and can be used as a blood and lymphatic purifier. It exerts, actually, I guess this would be good if you have any toxins. We talked about this last month, like, right? If you drink or you smoke weed or eat a lot of sugar or whatever, maybe you want to get some burdock root. I bet it grows around most of you. It says it exerts its main influence as a diuretic, so it's going to cause you to release through your urinary system and also through your skin. I guess kind of like a shark does. It says burdock root and seeds are a near specific for skin ailments such as eruptions of pimples, acne, boils, and styes. It can also be very useful for a variety of urinary problems, especially frequent urination and urinary inflammation. So I guess this can also be good if you're a man. As you're getting older, I feel like most men, their prostate will enlarge somewhat, and that will push that, right? So that'll bring that down. It says serving as a cleanser of the blood and the lymphatic system. Burdock is indicated for most joint pains and also helps eliminate tumors. Interesting. So let's get some new energy now that we've talked about that. Thank you for anyone who's still here and wanting to learn and grow. By the way, did you know blue flag will take away herpes? Okay, Leo. What's going on? All right. So, it's okay if you don't feel 100%. I need you to just confirm that with yourself so that you don't block some opportunity, right? Because sometimes the bitter waters of life are there to test us, to realize that you have enough to continue on your journey and that you will be fine. Right? Yes. Let's see what this is about. Heck yeah, Queen of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. Obviously, you can handle anything that you need to handle. But I heard you don't have to necessarily be so strong all the time. Or very least, whenever you're not, you feel a little bit weak. You feel, I don't know, like you want to express yourself in a way that may not seem so Leonian. Then it's okay. It's totally okay. Just say it. It would actually really help you to be like, man, I feel sad today. Or I feel lonely. I feel stuck. I feel like I don't want to talk to anybody. Or even with a friend, say you're hanging out and you're just like, I feel like I can't even talk to you. You know what I mean? Or something like this. Like, just be, if you just admit it, there's something that brings you, this actually gives you more of the confidence that you need. So that you don't question something so much, because, you know, the thing is I'm looking down at this Rhubarb card, which I love Rhubarb, by the way. But the thing is about Rhubarb that's interesting is that there's only one part of that plant that you eat, and it is the stalk. Right? You don't eat the leaves, you don't eat the root, you just eat the stalk. Everything else is poisonous. So sometimes you're going to be drawn to things where there's like one good part and the other things are sort of toxic. Right? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, well I can make some sweet strawberry rhubarb jam out of that person or out of that situation, which is a beautiful thing that you know how to do this. But make sure that you're not allowing too much toxicity into your body, because there are lots of plants, people, situations, right, where the whole thing is edible. It's palpable, the whole thing. right? And I guess there's something to think about there. And so I guess also, and again, we talked about this last month, and I know, any of you here, you can, judge me if you please. I smoke cigarettes. Everybody's got a bad habit. What's yours? Right? What's your bad habit? I heard, are you too weak to stand up for, to speak up for yourself? Do you have judgments against other people? Like, what's your situation? And I guess you want to focus in on what you really love, Leo. Interesting reading. And what is it that is unhealthy? Right? Some cycle. For some of you, this could be your lover or your partner that is unhealthy. It could be friends of yours. It could be family. It could be, again, some sort of habit. Drinking, whatever, your diet, whatever it is, there's something. But whatever that is, please continue to assess it, because... And be okay with that in-between space, because you're going to feel a little empty if you let go of something that is what is not suiting for you, right? At first, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, did I make the right decision, right? Breaking up with that person, cutting this out, whatever it is. It's, as you're moving to the next space, right? When we move from house to house, for instance, you don't generally take every single tiny thing with you, right? You're going to donate some stuff. You're going to realize, oh, this is junk. I don't even know why I had this. You know what I mean? Things like this, like, oh, someone else could use this. Yes, this has been a part of my life. Like, for instance, it could be like a physical object where you're like, oh, I really love this and I've put a lot of love into this. But then you realize at a certain point where you're like, oh, this actually isn't, this is for someone else. Right? And maybe you needed to be a part of that, whatever it was, for a certain amount of time, until you realize that it's now time for you to let go. And so I guess I need you to just kind of ask yourself, like, what do you need to let go of? Or what is it that's hard to let go of? Especially if it's something that you really love. You know what I mean? Like, you put your energy into it. Okay, I feel like this is very emotional for you, so let's become a little bit... I heard let's dry up the water a little bit. So small assessments at a time, right? Small adjustments is how you're going to succeed in doing this, right? Assess those emotions, put it aside, and then, okay, practically speaking, let's look at work, for instance. Okay, well, I see you have many opportunities at work. I feel like some of you, whatever you create, you could even be retired, but whatever you're working on and you put your energy into, I feel like it's so... There's so many differences in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's very unique. There's something very unique about what you do. I see you can do things that other people cannot do. What else is going on here? Queen of Swords. And the Nine of Pentacles. So you've worked really hard to get to this place. Right? You've put in a lot of hard work to get to this place. Juniper berries also connect to, they're hard on the liver, and Libra rules the liver. So maybe some sort of liver cleanse would be good for you. I guess this again could be like not drinking for some of you, but also just what again, because we're talking about a liquid that you take into your body. This is an emotional thing. But again, let's try to I could practicalize this. Let's try to practicalize this, Leo. I see that you have a brand new opportunity. You have an opportunity now also for the next, like, right now, really put some energy into like a 6-month goal. Maybe some of you even want to do like a 6-year goal, 5-6-year goal. Like really, what is that goal? What is it that what are the opportunities that you have? And because you're so creative, right? You just have this capacity to be like, oh, I'm going to combine this and that, right? Most of you are either like really good cooks or really good artists, or just your way of combining things. And actually, I guess because we talked about it so much, your diet could also be very important. But either way, think about this future space. And I also see, maybe you want to talk to people. Air is your friend. Right? Fire and air, I feel like they go well together. If you don't have air, you can't really have a fire, right? It's going to put the fire, it's going to be stagnant. So maybe talking to some open-minded people that you can kind of say things straight to would be a very helpful thing as well, right? Who is it that you can talk to that you don't have to hide what you think or how your heart is feeling? Like, that's very important. And I also feel like you could bounce off some ideas, be like, maybe a friend of yours is like, oh, I have this idea. Like, it's almost like asking other people, like, what are your plans for the future? You know, and then someone's like, oh yeah, like, oh, okay, cool. Like, oh, I'm doing this, like, I'm kind of heading in that direction too. And then there's some sort of, I don't know, it's not exactly like you're going to do it necessarily like you'll do this together, but where you can exchange energy so that you can figure out, I heard, what's going on. Now, I do see some really awesome opportunities at work. I do feel like you should clean up, like, this could be your garage and you're like kind of prepping for your garden, and when the spring comes, for those of you who are in this could also be your job. Like, maybe you want to do some inventory, right? Maybe you want to go over your inventory, or maybe you want to go over some technicality here. I do see if you're going to plant a garden, this is a great time to, if you buy your seeds, then to buy your seeds, or at least to kind of plot it out, like what's it going to look like, right? What happened last year with your garden? How did your garden grow? Right. What happened last year where you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you did it. And then what you thought, like your hypothesis of it, was different than how it ended up. What was that? And use that information, even if whether it's a success or a failure, use it as a tool for you to be like, oh, okay, now I know how to save like a little bit more time, or you know how to adjust it just enough so that you are stronger and feel more confident, right? So that I heard that happiness that you seek, that sweetness that you seek is there. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel, whatever that emotion is not 30% positive, 60%, toxic. It's like, where the majority, it's like 90% good. You know what I'm saying? But I heard you can't lead a horse to water. Remember that. This probably has to do with other people a little bit, right? You can't lead a horse to water. But you can let them know where that the river's available or where it is. But I heard some people may not even know that they're thirsty. Do you know what I mean? Like, so is there anywhere that you're dealing with, I guess, a situation that is not emotionally satisfying? Just kind of look at that. Maybe sit with that quietly. And then I see be okay with continuing on and maybe having to do something that you can do, but maybe for some of you don't want to do. But if you do the thing I see that you don't kind of want to do, then you receive some sort of the Sun and the Ace of Wands. This could also be where there's a lot more positivity, a lot more creativity, a lot more passion, right? Because you are a very passionate person, right? Leo energy is very, very passionate. Whatever you get into, you get into it, and it's good to know what you dig. And I guess what you want to plant there. Just a second. If you know where it is, Capricorn is what, for some of you, I guess this is your 5th house. So this is the house of risk. It's the house of creativity. It's the house of sex. It's the house of children, which again is like creativity. This house is, I guess this house needs to be cleaned up a little bit. You need to clean the house. What do you want life to look like when you get to your birthday, right? When we get to August, what do you want it to look like? I also see, again, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, something like that. Pay attention and really put some positive energy, right? Try not to say to yourself, well, when this happens, then I'll do that. Because when you do that, or I'll feel like that, it's like, when this happens, that'll happen. It's like, no, sometimes you gotta, how do I see this? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter what's happening to a certain extent. It's about, what are you doing? What do you want to do? And what is it that you need to no longer do? And I know this is a bit redundant to last month's message, but January and February are both ruled by Saturn. Excuse me. And it's important to trust and have faith in believing in yourself. And I want to close this with the day that is today. It says, many people have a poor opinion of themselves and their abilities. Some people lead unhappy and frustrated lives because that which you believe of yourself is inevitably reflected in your way of life. It says, sooner or later you must assess yourself. This could be a humbling experience, or it could reveal a revelation, one of which you may be able to begin to see who you can become. A person full of strength, wisdom, and inspiration. It says, stop disparaging yourself and convincing yourself that you will never achieve whatever you are seeking. If you embrace this truth, the honest assessment of your life is about to begin. And I also feel like if you connect to your family and your ancestors, you know, they're also there helping you, you know. Not to say all of our family is easy to connect to, but I feel like there's many of our family members that we've never met before, and you never know. Actually, let's close it like this. Did you know that when the word, I don't remember within lexicon, like where genius technically comes from, but when it was expressed by the Greeks, which we always go back to the Greeks, right? Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, that's all we ever talk about. But whatever, there's so many other people and cultures and history, but that's another story. Point is that in Greece, when someone would create something, right? A piece of artwork, they had an idea, some sort of great idea. When this was achieved, people would say, like, say it was something really miraculous, the people would say, oh, they have a genius. As if this was like a spirit or an energy or your ancestors or whatever, like God whispering in your ear, like, hey, draw that. Or but of course this is loving and positive, right? There's not negative energy in here, because it ended up being something beautiful that inspired people, right? You look at a piece of art and someone is inspired by that. A song makes you like just weep with joy, you know? But they have a genius. And then when it moved into the Romans, and we started the Renaissance and whatever, that sort of art, where instead of, like, for instance, humans would generally draw nature all the time, right? Paint nature, songs and poems about nature, the Celts with the trees and all this, the Japanese with their mountains in the sun, you know. But once we moved in these Romans, it became more humanized. Right? And instead of the person having a genius, the person became the genius. Oh, they are a genius. But what happens with this is sometimes this is where the ego got flipped a little bit, in my opinion, because say you do create something, a relationship, a piece of art, whatever, and it doesn't pan out the choice or the effort doesn't pan out the way that you want. It's like that people didn't take it so personally in this Greek historical context, because they were just creating to create, you know what I mean? Like making art because they loved making art, and they didn't care what everybody else thought about it, exactly because it was their connection to this really pure place of creation, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to make this and then everyone's going to judge what it is. So I don't know. I just thought I wanted to share that with you about these words and life. And there you are, Cayenne. You're in this deck. You're ruled by Cayenne. Maybe you should grow some. It's really easy, and they're cute. You can dry them. I dry them green or red. But that's a good energy for you. Another flower also that's ruled by Leo, as well as it's ruled by Jupiter too, but it's called borage, Borage, and it has these really magical, mystical purple flowers, and you can eat the leaves. It's a very interesting plant. So anyway, Leo, your reading is very, very earthly. Happy about that. Happy to have you here. Thank you, anyone who's still here. I do appreciate you. I know I've said it before, but man, you, Leo folks, Leo energy has taught me so much about who I am as a person and how to accept who I really am. And it's mostly because Leo energy to me is so much themselves, you know? Like, Leo folks, like, they really don't give a shit most of the time what other people think 90% of the time, you know, and that's okay. And so I guess it's all right to humble yourself in certain ways too, and to feel like, oh man, I don't know about this or that. So please just feel strong about where you're at. And yes, again, be happy when you're happy, and when you're not happy, be happy for that too, because it's releasing something that you don't need anymore. Do you know what I mean? So you can create the life that you want. And please think about, I see it for you, it's like 5-year goal. Like make one. And again, I see, please think about what you would like to achieve by your birthday. Right? What do you want? And I heard, you can make it small if you want to, and it doesn't have to be exactly physical, because that emotional, spiritual space inside of you is going to be your mentality on things. That's going to be what you create. So I see, please believe in yourself, okay? Please believe in yourself. You are enough. And if your relationships are a little bit funky, things are a little bit off there, well, have faith that, again, we have things for a certain amount of time for a reason, right? Most things have a timeline. So be okay with that timeline and try not to drag it out, because when we drag out the timeline is when we start to be like, I don't like this, or like you're not happy with something, or like it just, you know, and you know, it's like when it starts to feel funky like that is when you know the world is basically like, hey, make a decision, change something. And so be okay with that. Especially, I heard, if anything is kind of like, I don't know, I heard you know better. You know better. You're so smart. You're not stupid. I never met a stupid Leo. And if anything, actually, most of the Leos I met do have you have geniuses. Okay? Yeah. But I guess it's about who's whispering in your ear, right? Which side is it on? Which side is it on when you hear little messages? That makes a difference. I love you. I love you, Leo. Oh, I miss my Leo friends. I miss my Leo friends. I miss my Leo family. And I'm so happy that we're all here together as friends and family. And thank you for being here. Please take care of yourself. Thank you for all of your support here on Patreon. So beautiful. Actually, a little side note, any of you still here, sorry. It takes me, my mother taught me how to tell stories, and so it takes a long time to get to the end. Anyway, on Patreon, actually, lots of things are starting to bloom here, like the speedwell and the purple dead nettle, and the borage is still growing. So my herbal series is going to start up again, because I tend to talk about things when they're physically around me. So if you're interested in that, there's some information over there. And of course, please pay attention to what grows around you, okay, naturally speaking, because that is going to give you information to what you need to, it will give you something to help you, right? Plants are very, very helpful, gracious little messengers, you know. I love you. Please take care.